Hmm. Good evening, my dear watchers. I'm reading this goosebump book called Vampire Breath. One thing I had to say about this story is... eh, I mean... R.R. Stein makes some pretty good stories, but this one, he knows nothing about vampires. I mean, a jar called Vampire Breath that makes you wakes you up from your slumber and then makes you look all young. It's ridiculous. R.R. Stein's a good writer, but he knows nothing about vampires. Now, this is more like it. Salem's Lot. Now, Stephen King, he knows a lot about vampires. Ah, yes. Haha. Now, I know some of you are wondering, now, what is the story of Salem's Lot? Well, I'll tell you this. This is the only story I know where the legendary Stephen King, he knew a lot about vampires, and most of the inspiration of his story came from Dracula. So it shows he read Bram Stoker's novel. And of course, Stephen King is quite a famous celebrity of horror writers. That they decided to make this movie, a TV movie of Salem's Lot. For those of you who never seen the movie or read the book, it's about a man who goes by the name of Ben. A long time ago in his childhood, he saw his parents get killed in Salem's Lot. And Ben left his home and became a writer. And Ben finally returned to Salem's Lot to find out that most people, one by one, or keep disappearing. And as it turns out, there's a young boy who lost his mother and father from the vampire. And of course there is a priest in the story who decided to help Ben. And two new people showed up in Salem's Lot, a antiques dealer and his boss, who turns out to be the vampire. And his boss goes by the name of Kurt Barlow. That's his name, Kurt Barlow. And from the original novel and from the original novel in the movie, he looks more like Count Orlok from Nosferatu. So he looks more like this. And like I said before, more rodent than Romeo. But of course this is exactly what this is what he looks like in the movie, right here. In Cara. And of course David Soul, you know, the actor who played Hutch on Starsky and Hutch, he played Ben in this movie, among other actors. All in all, this was a really good movie. Oh, and the antique dealer in this movie is played by James Manson. You might know him in other classic films he's done. Now this movie, it's a TV movie, but it's a dang good one. And the story, and throughout the entire story, Ben and the little boy who lost his parents and his friends decided to join with Ben to kill this vampire. So now they joined together to deal against any vampire who came across Kurt Barlow. So they traveled non-stop. And of course, there's somebody told me in the original story there is a character who is a tie-in to, maybe not The Stand, but a tie-in to the Dark Tower series. Stephen King did a really good story of Salem's Lot and knows exactly what a vampire is. Although I'm not quite sure about looking like more rodent. But it's his imagination. And after this movie was made, somebody decided to make a sequel called Return of Salem's Lot. In this one, vampire still lives in Salem's Lot. And newcomers come to Salem's Lot who know that they entered to the world of darkness. And then in 2004, a year before Multi-Voice Reviewer graduated from high school, they made a new Salem's Lot. And it's played by Rob Lowe as Ben, and Donald Sutherland as the antique dealer. And Rutger Hauer plays Kurt Barlow, except this time he's not looking like he's not looking like Nosferatu. He just looks like a normal vampire. I haven't seen that remake, but for those of you who have seen it, leave a comment down below to let me know. I might come around to see it. But avoid the sequel, because it's nothing like the book. And you know, that's one thing I had to say about Stephen King. He is a master of horror. And of course there is another vampire story that Stephen King wrote. None of the characters from Salem's Lot is involved. He just wrote a short story called The Night Flyer. And what is The Night Flyer, you're gonna ask me? It's a story about the photographer who's trying to track down the legend of the Night Flyer. And it turns out it's a real story. And any time that black airplane lands in the territory, he keeps killing many people. And this photographer keeps tracking him down. Until, well, let's just say the photographer met the Night Flyer, who is a vampire. And things didn't go well. Trust me. Read the book find the short story of it, or listen to the audiobook, or see the movie. And here's something very cool I discovered. That BBC, the British Broadcasting Channel, they did a audio drama of Salem's Lot. So if any of you wants to hear the radio drama, why don't you just look it up on YouTube? YouTube has everything, you know? But of course, just like Stephen King, and of course the creator of this movie is created by the same people who did Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That is true. But also there is more into this book than how the movie made. You know, that's the thing about adaptations between the book and the movie or TV shows and so forth. They always leave a few things out. Like I saw the episode of Vampire Breath on Goosebumps. You know, I think R.R. Stein should do some research about vampires before he decided to write that book. At least Stephen King got his inspiration from Bram Stoker's Dracula. So for those of you who are book readers, you should read Salem's Lot. It is a good story. Or for those of you who are not readers, you should just watch the movie. Watch the original before you decide to watch the remake with Rob Lowe. Yeah. Well, this is your friend Count Dracula. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Oh. That's a lot better. I hate it when it goes front. Anyway. If you like this Salem's Lot video, please leave a comment down below, hit like, subscribe. And if you like this video on Facebook, please give it a share, if you like. Let your friends know about Salem's Lot. As for me, I'm gonna do another vampire review, so I will return. Now, you better stay tuned, because my next review is going to be Lost Boys. So, good night. Shalom. Ha!